Waiting on YouTube. What's going on, guys? We are connected. So, hi, guys. Donnie Rouse here. And this one is something inspired from just some daily reflections, as well as some of the work I've been doing on my personal life, as well as the career and all those other areas. So, enjoy this. Hi, guys. My name is Donnie Rouse, and you are listening to the podcast, One Life, Divinely Guided. What if that everything that was happening in your life, you were being guided in some way? Said differently, let me pose a different question. If you look back in your life, when has there been a moment where things didn't go as planned, but perhaps because of that you just kind of surrendered? And through that surrender, you realized that something greater was revealed to you. I really believe that life is always trying to unfold for you, is always trying to give you these nuggets of information, but it's up to you to be receptive to it. So I have a couple things I want you to ponder before we even get into this. Think of a time in your life where things just kind of unfolded for you, where they may not have gone as planned, but as a result of that thing not going the way you wanted, something greater was revealed to you. Maybe it was a new awareness, a mindset. Maybe it was a new opportunity that came from like a missed flight. And then once you notice these, I want you to get in the habit of just thinking, what if you allowed yourself to look for these synchronicities? What if instead of fighting the things that go wrong, you allow yourself to instead be open for what is trying to make itself available? I'm currently in a workout plan right now because I'm going to be competing in November. Well, I use the term going to be competing very loosely. I signed up for a physique contest this coming November. And with that signing up came this whole regimen of working out and eating. And the difference between the signing up for this program and one that I had in the past, 5 years ago, I did in 2017, was that my inspirations or my reasons for doing it were different. When I did it in 2017, I did it because a friend challenged me. He said that I wouldn't be able to get this physique, this body that he had gotten. So challenge accepted, I entered the physique contest in 2017, and I was literally committed the entire time. I didn't miss a single workout, didn't miss a single meal, didn't cheat on anything that I put in my body, because I had a very clear outcome and a clear why I wanted to prove him wrong. I signed up this time with a different reason. I just wanted some kind of goal for my body without really thinking clearly. I mean, I knew what it is that I want, right? When I think of health, I think of vibrancy, I think of energy, I think of vitality, I think of like a sound structure in my body. I think of a great physiology, feeling good, not having all these aches and pains. When I set the goal to instead, compete in this physique contest. And it's been 5 years since I had competed, so I forgot everything that went into it, including all the emotions, the feelings, the intense amount of food that you had to eat, and how when I was working out, when I was competing for this event and training for it, what I experienced was not the vision of a healthy lifestyle or a vibrant lifestyle that I wanted. Can you relate to that? Is there any area in your life where you're saying, you know what, yeah, I'm going for this, but this is not really, something feels off, right? You're driving towards a goal, but something in your body saying, no, yeah, we're working towards this, but there's a conflict. There's something that's holding you back. As I was thinking about this, I was thinking about because I'm paying a trainer right now. It's paying like an online trainer. It's like $300 a month. And as I'm thinking about this, like my body's fighting it the entire time. I'm entering my calories. I'm like, this is stupid. Why am I eating all this? I don't want to see a turkey for the rest of my life. And I was just literally incanting all this stuff because I was trying to go against what my body was trying to tell me. Which mainly is like, Donnie, hello, this is not what health is to you. So I had a taste of that, I actually took a step back and I said, okay, let me become a little bit more aware of what exactly is going on. What's going on in my mind? What is it that I really want? And it was through this awareness that I realized setting the goal and signing up for the contest was actually a way of steering me in the right direction. Part of the reason was for going into this contest, some of it's like, one, I wanted a goal. I wanted to be able to have something to work towards. Another part of it, there was some vanity in it as well, because I like when I get compliments on my body, on my physique, and I like the discipline that goes into it. Because often I would say, people would be like, "Oh, well, you had to do all this, this, and this." Oh my God, I can never do that. And I would get satisfaction in knowing that I was able to discipline myself to eat all the meals and to take the action in terms of the workouts in order to get the body that I had. Looking at it now from a different perspective, I was like, well, how is it that I want to feel? And I realized that I was fighting the, I want to say giving up the change of my goal, because I'm like, well, you know what? I committed, I purchased this coach, I signed up for the program. I've already spent I don't even know how many hundreds of dollars. I have to do this now. And I can't say that I'm completely convinced that I'm not. I mean, I might still do it, but my goal or my objective is different now, right? Like now, the focus is going to be on my health, right? On flexibility, on energy. If I don't get all the calories that I need in order to build that, if I feel like my body's telling me something different, I'm going to listen to it. I'm not going to go forward. So what do I want to tell you here? The message I want to bring to you is that everything in your life, like if you listen to it, if you just kind of realize that sometimes these challenges that you're going through, these difficult times, are prepping you for something greater, but you have to find the more empowering meaning in the message there. Life is always trying to reveal itself to you. Two, I want you to just be available to the synchronicities, the co-creating, so to speak, of what is trying to come into your awareness. Because there's something funny when you start to lean into life, you start to see these synchronicities. And as you start to see these synchronicities, you start to be them, meaning you start to co-create. More start to come into your awareness because you're actively paying attention to them. There has been this circle in my life, meaning, between the coffee, between the desire to travel, to be abroad, to have this freedom of location. If you've listened to my podcast, you've heard me mention it 100 times over, that I wanted to be like this. I wanted to be a little bit more nomadic, but not in the sense that I always want to travel. I like having the experiences, and I like coming back here and sharing some of those experiences with you, because it's kind of like, I think there's so much value to be had in travel and having those experiences. But sometimes I get a little bit too focused. I'm like, no, well, I have to continue down this road. I have to do things a certain way, quote unquote, the coffee business. I went to New York City. One of my friends, Luciana, was visiting I met her in Italy in 2019, and she was in New York City. And she says, hey, I have an extra ticket to the Book of Mormon on Broadway. Do you want to go? Come. I'm in the city for one more day. And anytime a friend of mine that I met traveling comes into this area where I live, I'd like to make the effort to go in and see them. It just so happened that I was just finished a farmer's market, and it was really, really hot. So by the time I get home, I was completely drained of energy. I didn't feel like doing anything. I took a 20-minute nap, and I was like, oh my God, am I really going to go into the city right now? But then I remember something I'd heard. It's like the universe is always trying to give something to you, is always there to give, and you have to be receptive. When we talk about things like finance, how many times have you received a gift, or someone's wanted to give something to you, either brush it off, like, no, there's no way I could accept this. Or someone gives you a compliment, and you're like, oh yeah, great, thanks, but, right? Someone say, oh my God, you're so handsome. You're like, yeah, well, oh, thank you so much. Well, yeah, you brush it off, but maybe you throw a compliment out to someone else because you feel like you have to, because, you're not comfortable with getting the compliment yourself. Instead, looking at it and be like, this is the universe, God, presence, anything you want to call it, giving to you, and just being grateful and receiving that in which you are being given. So seeing this offering of a Broadway ticket, I was like, you know what? Well, one, it's going to be awesome to see my friend. Two, this is like, this is a gift, and I have to be, I want to and have to be receptive to all these things that are coming into my life. So I got dressed, got showered, and went into the city. Went into the Broadway show, and I turned out to have an amazing time watching the show. And I'm not one for Broadway. I like opera over Broadway. But I had a great time nonetheless because it was a completely new experience. I ended up meeting one of her friends, a friend by the name of Julia, and we ended up going right down the street. We had we saw an Italian place, and I said, all right, that's where we're going to go. Coincidentally, we both met Louisiana in Italy in 2019. Louisiana met Julia when she was in Sicily, and she met me when she was in Rome. So I said, okay, let's go get Aperol Spritz. So we went in there too. We were having Aperol Spritz, and we started talking about desires and like life and travel and all these other things. When we spoke about desires, Louisiana was telling me about she travels, but she doesn't really necessarily have the freedom to see all these different places because work takes up a lot of her time. And we were talking about how we both wanted the freedom to be able to, to check in when we want to check in, to do work, but also the time to really be present and experience wherever it is we are. I found that I was actually very lucky in that regard because when I do travel, I may check email once in a while, but most of the time I'm there and I'm trying to cram in all the experiences I can in the time that I have in that country. I used to travel for a month at a time, so I would do like 2 months a year. Now I've broken that into smaller chunks. So this way I have, smaller chunks so I could fit more trips in, but also so that I'm not like literally leaving and then coming back and continuing my work and be like, oh, what was I doing again? What was my business? I couldn't remember. I would often even forget the recipe for my cold Roman espresso, which I can't even tell you how many. I don't know how many bottles. I've done like tens of thousands, not like hundreds of thousands of bottles. But I would literally, after taking so much time off, I would forget my recipe, and it's something that I did over and over and over. So I started doing these smaller chunks. And as we were talking, it made me aware that, well, as she was saying this, that I'm grateful for what I have, but also she made me aware. I was telling her that some of the things I wanted, and she started to challenge me. She had just taken a coaching course, and she started to challenge me a little bit, like, all right, well, why can't you do this? Why do you feel this? Who do you have to be this for? I was telling her, I was explaining as to why I couldn't go after the things or the stories I was telling her as to why I couldn't go after the things I wanted. And she was starting to break down those stories. And where I'm going with all this is that at the beginning, the very, very beginning of the day, I had actually set the intention to get more clear about my path, more clear about what I wanted to give in terms of the difference I wanted to make. And I left the intention as that. I said, okay, that is my intention. I'm going to surrender. I'm going to be willing to see what comes into my life, what clarity that I'm going to get holding this intention. As I did that, this happened when I was with Louisiana. So to bring it all back to the point I'm trying to make is to allow. Look for the synchronicities in your own life. Look what life is trying to give you. It could be a missed airplane, right? Or a delayed airplane. It could be not getting the very thing that you want because you need to develop a quality. Something. I want you to start to examine your life and look for these synchronicities. Look for the greater good that is starting to unfold or want to reveal itself through you. I'll give you one last example. 2006, I was in Rome, Italy, and I just got out of a 6-year relationship, and so prior to right after we broke up, I think we broke up in about March 2006, and the entire few months prior to my leaving for Rome, I was like, oh, hell yeah, I'm single, woo, and I was going out every single night, having drinks with friends, but then when I went to Rome, something different happened. I got lonely. I was extremely lonely. I mean, I was in a class of, I think, like 27 women and me. I mean, that would be like every guy's dream, every straight guy's dream. But yet at the same time, I wasn't happy. I was looking for, all I wanted was connection. I wanted a friend. So I prayed every night. I was like, just send me a friend. That's it. And I would kind of go about my day doing whatever, whatever it brought in me. But there was something I always said. I said, when life gives you lemons, make lemonade. And I would kind of incant this to myself. And what that was really doing was saying, whenever something comes into your life, look for what's trying to be revealed. Look for, not necessarily just like look for the upside, right? Because it's not necessarily trying to not trying to look through the world with rose-colored glasses, but realize there's always something trying to be revealed for your greater good. And as I saw that, I saw delays and all these different things, because if you go to Italy, there's a very good chance that you're going to encounter delays. I remember one time I had my bus that was going to my school literally had to stop in the middle of the road because someone parked their car in the middle of the street while they went in and got to espresso. Awesome. I approve of that. And as a result of all these things happening, all these other things start to unfold in your life. And I remember I found like one of the cafes that I would literally go to every single day. I think it's called like the library. But all of these new, I guess, these things came into my life because I was looking for them. I was open to them. And I met different people. But if I was just focused on the delay, if I was focused on being late to class, if I was focused on the feeling tired and not really wanting to go into New York City and it was going to be more of a hassle than anything, I would have missed everything. I would have missed all that life was trying to give me. So to bring it back, think of a time in your own life where things didn't necessarily go as planned, but maybe you just had a moment of surrender. And that in that moment of surrender, something greater shined through. Maybe you met one of your best friends. Maybe you met the love of your life in one of the worst times of your life. Remember that. And I want you to just kind of think of the mindset that it took, right? What was that surrender saying, well, and bring it into your everyday life. Start to see anytime something goes wrong or something doesn't go as you plan. Start to see what else is life trying to offer you. What is the greater meaning? Because there is a greater meaning. Life is always trying to reveal more of itself to make you grow. And as you start to see these synchronicities, all of a sudden now there's no more setbacks. There's just constant, evolving, constant unraveling into what it is that you're really meant to do, what you're really being called for. So I hope you enjoyed this podcast. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. You can ask a question, comment, or subscribe to the podcast by visiting www.donnyrouse.com, www.donnyrouse.com. I hope you enjoyed this podcast, guys, and because this is all, when you start to surrender to life, you realize that life really is happening for you. But it's up to you to change the way you're seeing life, to change the filter you're seeing it. And by looking for the more empowering meaning, by looking for the synchronicities, you start to see them appear more and more in your day. And then you enter the state of co-creation. So in closing, I want you to remember this. You get one life, just one. Live it. God bless, and I will see you again